O. O is for origin. Where did human beings and indeed everything on earth come from? The gospel story, in fact, begins with an answer to this question. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. God created the world from nothing, miraculously by His wisdom and by the word of His mouth. And God did this in 7 consecutive 24-hour days. He made light, the sky, separated the waters from dry land, created vegetations, animals, and finally, He made human beings, the crown of His creation, in His own image. While God created everything else by the word of His mouth, He stopped to take special care in the creation of human beings. Then God said, "Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness." And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being. So God created man in His own image. In the image of God He created him, male and female He created them. Then God set the population of the earth in motion by commanding procreation and making it possible. So the earth and everything in it did not come to be by accident, not by a big bang, not through thousands of years of things creating themselves. It was made by God and it belongs to Him. David says it best in a psalm, "The earth is the Lord's and all its fullness, the world and those who dwell therein. For He has founded it upon the seas and established it upon the waters." Knowing where we came from and that He who made us has a plan gives life meaning and purpose. It gives meaning to the rest of the gospel story. It is because we have faith in the biblical account of creation that Christians are able to look forward with hope to a promise of recreation. The same God who created the world by the word of His mouth and by His power is able to recreate it in the twinkling of an eye. He is able to raise the dead, not over a period of many years, but in an instant. It is with His creative power and might that Jesus is able to restore the sight of the blind and make the lame walk again, raise the dead, and heal all manners of diseases. Even though God's creation, which He looked at and declared that indeed it was very good, has been marred and made imperfect by the entrance of sin, yet what we see today reveals and testifies of God's glory. David again writes in the Psalms that the heavens declare the glory of God, the skies proclaim the work of His hands. Day after day they pour forth speech, night after night they reveal knowledge. They have no speech, they use no words, no sound is heard from them, yet their voices go out into all the earth, their words to the ends of the world. So God's creation declare God's glory, not so that we may worship one great thing or another in the creation, but to worship the Creator. Knowing that we came from God also helps define the amount of value every human being has. Each human being can join the psalmist to say, "For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful." Jesus also tells us that not one sparrow falls to the ground outside of God's care, and even the very hairs of your head are all numbered. So don't be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows. God values you. God values me. God values every human being and every human life because we are made in His image. He desires that when we come into a loving relationship with Him, we will live life in its full potential and fulfill the good purpose for which each one was made. So we understand that there is life beyond death, because death was not part of God's original plan for His very good creation. Death came as a result of sin, and He promises that just as He made the earth by His power, He will recreate and make everything new. When God's dwelling place will be among the people, and He will dwell with them, they will be His people, and God Himself will be with them and be their God. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. It is hard to imagine anything that is purposefully designed that came to be so by accident. Not the first car, not the first iPhone, not the first television set, not movie characters, not furniture, and certainly not the universe with its billions of galaxies, sun, moon, and planets purposefully ordered by the master designer. None of this is by accident. Instead, they point to a design. And certainly, you are not an accident. You were fearfully, wonderfully, and purposefully made by God. Each one must cooperate with God's ultimate plan as He sends the invitation. Oh, come, let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel down before our Maker. O is for origin.